Hey, it's Chris Coffin. We're in downtown Crested Butte. I'm here with Jake Jones, who's the executive director of the Crested Butte Land Trust. Jake, tell us a little about yourself and the Crested Butte Land Trust.
Yeah, Chris, thanks for having me. My story's pretty similar to many others. I came here as a young ski bum, aspiring ski bum, and never left. That was in the early 90s, amazingly 30 years ago.
Wow.
Along the way, I got a degree in biology from Western State College at the time, now Western Colorado University, and did a number of things in my career where I feel like what I'm doing right now at the Land Trust is a culmination of all the things I've done, and it's really the proudest work I've ever done in my career, especially here in Crested Butte.
Well, the Land Trust is an awesome organization. Everybody that I talk to, and they just are in awe of the views that we have in Crested Butte and the land that's available. So it's about the land, but it's also about the people, is it not?
Absolutely. In order for us to do the work we do, we want the people to be engaged with the land and with conservation as much as possible. Some of the places that we've protected have been with people in mind, places like Long Lake, the Gunsight Bridge area, the Lupin Trail, the Lower Loop, the rec path between Crested Butte and Mount Crested Butte. All those were products of land conservation. And not only is it good for people, it's great for the wildlife that moves through. We're still able to support ranching in the Upper Valley here, and the views are to die for.
Yeah, and it's really, I always say it brings so many different demographics of people together, and thankful so much for the homestead ranchers and all that they have done, and you've worked with to protect the land and make it available as well for other uses.
That's right. Conservation here in the Gunnison Valley, and I'd say throughout the valley, is something that we all tend to agree on. And especially in a time where, people disagree on a lot of things, this is something that I'm really proud to be a part of
Yeah.
because it transcends all boundaries, political boundaries, economic boundaries. Coming to a place like this is really about the surroundings and about the natural environment and being able to interact with the natural environment in a place like Crested Butte and throughout the Gunnison Valley. We can all relate to that. If we wanted to be in an urban environment, we would, and we're not, and we're in
Right.
a place like this.
Yeah.
The land that we've protected over the last 30 years is still private land, and was private land. It just didn't include a lot of these places where we have access today. Were inaccessible to the public years ago.
Yep.
That's a big deal. We also work with ranchers on private land, conservation easements, and ranch land acquisitions. We own hundreds of acres of ranch land that have no public access at all.
Hmm.
That's also a really important part of what we do to allow ranching to continue to thrive in a place where it's tough to do. It's cold, the growing season's short. There's a lot of people in every little nook and cranny where they're allowed to go.
Yep. Well, I was just at the event you hosted at the Uli's Cabin, which was really great. Dwayne Vandenbush did a nice historical talk, but you do a lot of events throughout the year. I'm excited in the summer always to be a part of the Caddis Cup and your annual gala event. Tell us a little about the events that you have and the fundraising that you've done, because that's an important part of your nonprofit as well, right?
Hugely important. We don't operate in a closed silo. We really work in the public and for the public. The conservation work that we do gathers a lot of public funds through the town's real estate transfer tax. That's a big deal, and our real estate community does a lot to contribute to that through the sale of real estate in the town of Crested Butte. And we also rely on gifts from individuals throughout the community. And so, there are many ways to do it, and one of them is to just engage folks through events. Some of them, we do charge a fee, and they're great fundraisers. Others are free, and they're educational, and they're meant for us to meet people and people to meet the Land Trust, and also to showcase the partnerships that we have throughout the valley. We really couldn't do this work without many other partner organizations, both local government as well as nonprofits. I've found that when we pool our resources and we pull together, we can really go far and fast.
Yep.
If we work separately and in our own silos, we may not get anywhere. And
Right.
so I want to go far and fast with partners, and our events help us do that, to grow our partnerships, grow our base of supporters, and to work directly with the organizations that benefit from the Land Trust, and we benefit from their work as well.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks for all that you do to protect the land and make it available, and work with the community in so many different aspects. So, how can people get involved? How can they donate? How can they find out about the events that you have going on and get engaged?
Well, of course, folks can always check out our website, cblandtrust.org. We have an amazing team at the Land Trust right now. I'm very, very proud to work with the people that we have in our office. You know, there's a team of 5 of us. 2 work on the development and outreach side, 2 are full-time dedicated to our field stewardship operations, and then myself as the executive director, and I sort of take the lead on conservation projects. But we have dozens of volunteers that help out in field stewardship projects as well as at our events. And our attendees of events, tend to leave pretty happy.
Yeah.
It's a feel-good mission.
Yep.
We get to engage a lot of people at whatever level they can support us with. And that's $50 donations from across the community, as well as gifts that are much larger than that. Sometimes those come through events, sometimes those come through our annual appeals. We're always fundraising to, run our operations as well as to conserve more land. The more money we raise, the more land we can protect.
Awesome. Well, super good. Jake, do you want to speak just briefly about some of the special projects? I know you just recently, I won't steal your thunder, had a really a nice announcement.
Yeah, gosh, we are so proud to have worked with the Shutt family, Bob and Suzanne Shutt, very recently here to conserve 107 acres on the Slate River. There's about a mile of the Slate River runs through the property. It's right adjacent to town, very recognizable piece of property, which will be owned by the Shutt family forever, or as long as they choose to own it. And the conservation easement will go with the land forever, whether the Shutts own the property or not. That's what conservation easements do. We essentially acquire the development rights through various means. There's usually a donation component from the landowner, as well as bringing some cash to the table to make the deal work.
Right.
And this is a legacy that'll last forever. We've seen the herd of elk there on their way to and from the high country in the spring and fall. We've got a winter ski trail going through it, which I think is amazing that the Nordic system is on. A lot of it is on private conserved lands, owned or managed by the land trusts, and tens of thousands of people can use those trails in the wintertime, and then they go away.
The alley loop we just had went through a lot of that.
The alley loop goes through a lot of it.
Yeah.
And so we can get a lot of people on conserved lands in the wintertime
Yeah.
without any harm being done to the land or the wildlife that uses that land when the snow melts.
Yeah, the new Gunsight Bridge and the lower loop, and the list goes on. Long Lake, the Bud Trail, the list goes on.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, living in a place like this really does require a commitment to be outdoors. For a lot of us, that's why we're here. That's why we're still here. And the quality of the outdoors here is, as good as it can possibly be, considering that we are a thriving tourist town, that we still rely on development and construction as a major part of our economy. And we think that land conservation fits within that economy very well. And gosh, the fact that so many people have worked so hard to care for this place for so long has made it a place that people still want to come to visit, to invest in land, to invest in conservation. I feel fortunate to be doing what I'm doing in a place where people universally like what we do, which I'm really grateful for, and people still love Crested Butte, which I'm also grateful for because I love it too.
Well, people always ask me what makes Crested Butte special, and the Land Trust is one of the reasons Crested Butte is so special. So when you're here in Crested Butte, reach out to the Land Trust, take a look at their website, and see what you can't do to get involved and get engaged if that's for you. Have an awesome day. Thanks so much, Jake.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.